that, I can't believe we're already on season 2. So a lot has changed for us both personally and in Leaderland in the past, I guess it's been, probably what? Well, yeah, it's been about 6 months since we recorded season 1.
It's true.
Yeah. So anyway, my brain is spinning because I can't believe it's been that long. So we both have babies since then. We have babies. So that's kind of a fun thing we can talk about now, because when we originally planned season 1, you and I were supposed to have a 6-week gap between our babies. But instead, no, your baby came 2 weeks late. My baby came 2 weeks early. So we had like literally 2 weeks, I think, where we were both not on paternity or maternity leave. And we recorded almost all of those episodes from season 1 in that length of time, which is wild.
It was amazing. And I was very much on baby watch the whole time. I was like, okay, I'm going to keep some of my notifications on, but I am trying to be present. It was a whole thing.
Yeah, which is actually a great segue into like what you just said about trying to be present. I would love to hear, I think it would be neat for us to both unpack, because we've both written about this separately through our LeadrPulse newsletter that we send out on a weekly basis. But I know for me, I feel like I am a different person as a parent now, at least when it comes to work. And so, I know you've written about that similarly. So what have you learned as a dad and an executive? What were kind of your key takeaways in this last season?
I'll share one first, that you have to let me finish the thought, because as I start saying it, you're gonna sound like I'm a terrible person now. So the first thing that shifted is I don't care very much what people think about me anymore. I just stopped caring what people think. So let me finish the thought before you start thinking I've become like a tool bag. What it really means is like there's one more person in the world now. I care much, much more what she cares about me than almost everybody else. And so that was a huge realization of I'm letting things roll off me a lot more. I'm able to just be like water off a duck's back if I'm becoming more unoffendable in the workplace, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
And so, I've just started to let go of my people pleasing way, way more. Ever since I've become a dad, I'm like, this matters. Like everything I do at Leadr matters, but being a dad, that just matters on a different paradigm. And so I think that was a big shift for me. And I don't know when the moment exactly happened, but I've started to sense it. Things that used to tick me off and used to frustrate me, and I used to, I'm going to offend this person or upset this person. I really don't care anymore, or not as much. I don't care as much.
Yeah, I can relate to that. The way that it took me a while to find the words for it, but I was originally describing it as I feel like I have this different or new confidence that I didn't have previously. But I really think what it is I've found self-worth outside of work. So, anyone who knows me knows that I find a lot of my identity and worth too much. I was going to say probably too much. No, not probably, absolutely too much in achieving and performing and accomplishing things. I love working. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but when your full identity is tied up into that, that's where it's bad and unhealthy. And I've definitely experienced the consequences of that in my, over the years. But now I have something that, I want to leave work at 5 because I cannot wait to go see Iris. And so, finding that self-worth outside of work puts it into perspective. It automatically helps you reprioritize. And people had told me that, and I kind of rolled my eyes like before I became a mom, like whatever, I'm still going to love work. And it's like, I do still love work, but I definitely don't love it more than Iris.
Well, I want to come back to that, but let me go back. So you said like you found a new confidence. I remember it was 2 weeks ago, you were traveling for work and you were juggling a crazy schedule, trying to fit that in. And you were walking through the airport and you said, I feel like a super mom. Do you remember saying that?
I feel like a superwoman. Yeah.
Superwoman. Yeah, I feel like a superwoman because your capacity stretched. Now you're able to handle just so much more than previously, but it wasn't deterring you from being excellent and doing everything while at work. But the fact that you are now juggling all these things, you're like, I'm superwoman.
Yeah, on my good days, I definitely feel like superwoman. And then there's times like this morning where I'm like, I feel like I am at capacity. So I definitely feel both of those things, but it's really cool to feel like, to be a woman as an executive in the world where we live today, where we still have a long way to go, but I'm so grateful that, this is kind of cool. You guys, like our executive team is 3 dudes and me.
Mm.
And my first day back for maternity leave was July 1st, and y'all flew to Houston to come to me for our
Yeah.
onsite, which like y'all were like, whatever, Holly, it's not a big deal. But like it is a big deal because
Yeah.
for 3 people to come to one person is way less efficient than me just coming to you guys. And so that meant the world to me. And it was just an example of how, you know, we at Leadr have created space to be a parent and an executive or a team member. And I'm grateful that we live in a world where with remote working and with, you know, just all of the resources that we have at our fingertips, we can do both. It doesn't mean it's easy, but we can.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a fun moment actually. That was special. Us all being there. Your first day back after 3 months, which 3 months in startup land is like 3 years.
Oh
and
yeah.
and so it was also kind of a double-edged sword because you're like, I'm so grateful that you're here, but why are you here?
Yeah.
What the heck happened in the last 3 months that made it feel like you had to be here? We're like, no, 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 no. We just wanted to be here on your first day back. It was
Yeah,
quite
you
funny.
sent me a Slack. You were like, FYI, the sky is not falling. I just didn't want you
Yeah,
to. And I was like, thank you for saying that because my brain did first go to that when you reached out. We're like, we're going to come to Houston. I'm like, oh no,
that's
what
right.
is happening? Yeah.
That's right. So let's go back to capacity because I think
Yeah.
I've heard this from a lot of first-time parents that there's this like high degree of nerves and anxiety of like your entire life is going to shift and all your capacity is going to shrink and be less focused. I wrote down 2 quotes of what some people told me leading up to having my first kid. Someone said, "Wait till you have your first kid. You're just not going to be as focused as you've been able to be at work." That was what one person said. Another person said, "Leaders' culture is going to shift to become more relaxed once your priorities shift at home." And so as a CEO, I was like, oh my goodness, this can't happen. I
Yeah.
juggle this. I've been able to prove both those statements completely wrong. Being more relaxed and being more present at home has not made me a less effective person as an executive, as a CEO, as a founder. And it also hasn't made me less focused at work, by the way. And in some respects, and maybe you can relate to this, Holly, I'm more focused because now I've got this sort of legacy mindset of this thing I'm building ultimately is this like generational idea of things to pass on to Ada. And so I refute those things that were said to me, and I'm not going to let those hang over me. I'm going to be more focused, more diligent, more intense at work. But when I'm home, that's when I'm actually far more present than I was previously. That's the big shift.
Yep, I totally agree. The way that I've described it is like every second counts, which is kind of a ripoff of the show The Bear, which my husband and I love watching that show, but that's a big part of the story arc is this concept of like every second counts. But that's how I feel at work. Like I'm way more productive and efficient now than I was previously because previously it was like, you know, I don't really feel like doing that right now because like unfortunately for me, my creative wavelengths come alive late at night. And so I used to be able to be like, you know, I'm going to work on that creative project at 10 p.m. tonight. And now I'm like, no, I got to sleep because
You can't.
yeah. So I'm like, you know what, even if it's 85% good enough, I'm going to
Yeah.
knock this out now because my literally every minute of my day is scheduled now. I mean, every second is accounted for, whereas
Yeah.
previously I had so much more bandwidth. So it makes me way more efficient during work. And then to your point, I'm fully present from 5 to, 7:30 when she falls asleep
Yeah.
at home. And I'm not checking my Slacks like I used to in that time frame. So being present at home has also been a gift.
Yeah. And so my encouragement would just be based on just what Holly and I have learned these last few months. Your capacity stretches. As an individual, you have the capacity to grow and to self-develop, whatever you want to call it. What you thought was going to be too much and not enough capacity in your life previously, we just find a way to make room. It just happens.
It is so true. I love how you just said that. Like we find a way to make room.
Yeah.
It's so true. So thanks for all the parents out there who have, forged the path ahead of us. And hopefully we can help those that are kind of thinking about, is it possible to be a parent and an executive? Like, I don't really know.
It
It
can
is.
be done.
Yeah.
It just
We're
requires
doing it.
intentionality. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Well, let's talk about what we've got coming up this season. So, we thank you so much for those of you who shared your feedback for last season. It's just been so rewarding to see the view. We have thousands of views on YouTube of our podcast, which I would have never imagined that. I'm like, thought maybe our moms would listen.
My mom did listen, by the way. Did your
Yeah.
mom
Oh,
listen?
same. Well, definitely
Okay.
my dad, because my dad is like a podcast addict, so I know he
Okay.
listened. So yeah. But so season 2, I am so excited about. The first guest that we have is Mark. Do you know how to say Mark's last name? I need to
Cosaglow.
say it again.
Well, it's my accent. It's Cosaglow.
Cosaglow. Okay,
Glow.
yeah. Glow. We have several hard last names on this podcast, season 2. But Mark is one of the best follows on LinkedIn. He's very spicy, which we love at Leadr and on this podcast. So you had a great conversation with him, which we're going to unpack actually in 3 different episodes. So be on the lookout for that. And then you got to interview Randy, who is the CEO of Maxio.
Yes.
Which I know had a big impact on you.
Yes, I've stolen quite a few of his things already and just made them my ideas at Leadr.
That's awesome. Thank you, Randy, for your ideas. And then we are also going to be talking to Alina, who has a also difficult and awesome last name. So I'm not even going to attempt it right now. But she has a really hot take on that companies can be effective without managers. So that one is a big one that we're going to unpack. And then we've also got Katie, who is head of people at a company that has recently been acquired by Accenture. So we're going to dig in with her on what it looks like to build a culture that supports our people, but also drives performance. And then Marie, who is the CFO of Hewlett Packard. So
Never heard of them.
Right? I cannot wait for us to dive into my conversation with her. And then we have Nick, who is the CEO of Gainsight, who really forged the pathway of what customer success should look like at companies and organizations. So
I love my conversation with Nick. I can't wait to share that with the world too.
Yeah, so this season is jam-packed of thought-provoking interviews with incredible leaders that are, what I really like about this season is they're all practitioners and thought leaders. So they're in the trenches just like we are, trying to move business forward every day, which I'm always inspired by talking to folks who have made those mistakes and also learned some things along the way.
That's right. And there's almost an overarching theme attached to season 2. We've got a new award that we're working with some of our customers on. Have you got that there with you, Holly?
I've got it. So if you're watching us on YouTube and not just listening on wherever you listen to your podcast, I'm holding up a trophy with a spicy hot pepper on it. We call this the Best Hot Take Award. Yep. And so we just launched a new service line called Leadr Academy. And what that is it's training for our managers to be better leaders. So that's a gap that we've heard over and over and over again from our customers. It's like, hey, your software and your platform is awesome, but can you also train our managers? And so we have launched Leadr Academy. And in every Leadr Academy session, we award the Spicy Hot Pepper Award. And so whoever has the best hot take in that session gets to keep it on their desk all month. And it is hilarious how this dumb idea has turned into something that people look forward to the most in our Leadr Academy sessions.
First of all,
yeah,
my idea. So thank you for calling my idea dumb. So
you're welcome.
And so actually, I think for this episode, Holly, you get the Spicy Hot Take Award for calling my idea dumb, because we're going to be handing each other the award at the end of every episode to see who is spiciest, Matt or Holly or the guest, because some of our guests have some hot takes. It's going to be really fun unpacking it.
So good. And then we also have recently created a Leadr hot sauce. I'm not kidding. A real hot sauce. It says the fuel for the fearless leader. And so we might be having some calls to action throughout our episodes where you can engage with us or write in with us where we'll send you some hot sauce. So stay tuned for an awesome season 2. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you again soon.
See you soon.